And we're live. Welcome to the show, Sean Flynn
Howdy.
of many bands.
Yes.
Those Clever Foxes, Old
Uh,
Charade,
yeah.
and what we're here to talk about tonight, American Buffalo Ghost.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You wow, you dropped the Fox's name.
Did I get them all right?
Yeah, you did. You
All
did.
right.
But it's so weird to hear anybody still like refer to me as like in those Clever Foxes. It's like we're like the most inactive active band in the history of Scranton, to be honest. It's like we're not even really a band anymore, but yet people still assume we are. It's really weird.
Well, it's a part of your history, Sean. That's
Yeah.
why we're here.
Oh yes, I'm aware. I'm aware.
So what's up, man?
Nothing. Just hanging out, just still living in the quarantine life as it is. The light at the end of the tunnel, I think, is coming now, though. I think.
I think
Hopefully.
so. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Vaxxed up. I got the 2 shots.
What'd you
So
get?
we still got to be careful, though. I don't like this. It's not like it's a get out of jail free card that I think a lot of people just think it is. They're just like, it is, like, no, I know people who got 2 shots and then they ended up getting it,
Yeah,
so,
it's weird too, because I don't know if I want to get into this because I made a post the other day and I had to take it down because people are very passionate, I guess you could say, about anti-vaccine, vaccine, this, that, the other thing, and the CDC put out that those who are vaccinated can remove their masks.
yeah.
And my concern was, you know, can we trust everyone to follow the honor system? I don't
Well,
know. And is it important? Is it important? Because people say, well, if you're vaccinated and someone else isn't, why should you worry about it?
well, I gotta just assume those people who are filling up their cars with garbage bags of gasoline really are on top of what safety protocol is. So I'm gonna listen to those people.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to get into it
I know.
because
I had to make the joke. I'm sorry.
dude, I
It's
did it.
funny
It was
observation.
that was part of my post was we have people out there filling or hoarding gas, and we're expected to live on the honor system. And that goes with anything. That's the honor system. That's a universal term for living an honest life. And sometimes we don't always do that. But I don't listen. I'm vaccinated. If you're not, I don't care. Like that's your choice. That's your motive. I'm not one of those people that are going to sit here and say, you have to be vaccinated because it's your choice. I
No,
strongly believe that.
I completely agree. And it's like I actually had like a small little, I don't want to say confrontation, but I definitely had a moment where someone talked to me that said why did you get the vaccination? And I immediately just said, the fuck do you care? And they just shut up. They didn't know what to say to that. I was like, straight up, I was like, the fuck do you care? And okay. And that was literally the end of the conversation. And it was like, I don't care if you don't get vaccinated. It's none of my business. So what business is it of yours if I want to get it? Who cares?
Right.
Leave me alone. I hate to have such a selfish in a corner mentality about it, like, but it's like, I think we're all getting a little on edge now with everything, though. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's like everything. It's like this tribal mentality, and it's if you're not on my side, you're the enemy. Well, no
yeah,
matter what side it is, if you're whatever it might be. Again, I'm not talking about vaccine versus no vaccine. I'm just saying just people in general, whether it's your political affiliation or your baseball team. I mean, it goes as far as that. Like if you're not a Red Sox fan, f you, or if you're not a Yankees fan, f you. I mean, granted, like I hate the Yankees,
I
and
hate the Yankees.
okay,
So
good, great, Sean, we're gonna have a great time tonight.
yeah, I hate the Yankees.
And you know what, too? What's really cool too is that you're wearing a Coors. Is it Coors Banquet?
Yeah, Coors Banquet shirt. Yeah.
Okay, Coors Banquet. I've got my Coors Light button. These are all little mountains. Yes, we didn't plan
And
this,
yet,
so I mean, here we are.
and yet, a little joke between you and I. A lot of nobody will get this though, but drinking an Omegang while wearing
Okay.
the Coors shirt. So you get it.
Yes, I should have. Well, I have here's how bad I am. I have an empty. I mentioned this to you, BrewDog beer. I chose not to drink tonight. Um, I should have had one just in case. I should have it ready for you just in case you were. But
No, I see. The thing is, I don't even really drink that much anymore. I really don't. Like over like I was like, the last year everybody used everything as an excuse to just completely get, I don't want to say lazy, but just comfortable in new habits. And then especially towards the election and then the holidays and everything like that, everybody was just drinking and eating like pigs. That's natural. But on top of the year, everything was really whatever. But I was like, I went, even by my standards, I was like, I'm hitting it a little too hard. So my wife and I really kind of cooled it on the sauce starting earlier this year. And we both lost weight. We changed our diet. We're really healthy. We're doing good. But I had such a bad work week last week and it carried over into today, which was the worst thing that could happen. Of like, you have a bad Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you just are like stewing on it all weekend. And you just go, man, okay, that was last week. Let's start on a good foot.
nope.
Shit carried over to today. And I was like, fuck it, I'm having a beer. So you're seeing me have a rare weak beer. Because like I only drink on the weekends when I have a few beers and everything like that though. But to have a beer on a Monday is like now like a whoa thing. So yeah.
Cheers to Monday beers.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I
What
mean,
to start on?
yeah, well, I mean, last year was an interesting year, and obviously that year carried over into this year.
Yeah.
Like you said, we're kind of hoping to see the light at the end of the tunnel here. But yeah, man, I mean, I was definitely hitting it a little harder. Well, not hard. It was just more often. Like it was like it went from drinking maybe 3 times a week to 6 or 7 times a week.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't like sitting on my couch getting blackout every single night. What you just said was what I was doing. Instead
Yeah.
of having it like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday thing, it was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, having one or two beers. And it's like those add up.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't getting drunk, it was just the decompression of it. But it was definitely like, oh, my wife's home.
We
Uh,
called it. We called it.
we called it. We totally called it. But it it just turned into like that, like just having that beer, one or two beers every single night. Then you started noticing you've been drinking one or two beers every single night, and you start
Yeah.
to get a little punchy, and you're
Yeah.
like, whoa, why is that kind of a thing? So that what you just said is 100% where I was Halloween all the way to January 1st of last year to this year.
Okay. See, I took October off. I actually did sober October, which was the first time that I had been sober. For I probably longer than 5 consecutive days in. Shit, I'm 38. Well, at the time I was 37. So like like probably 17, 18 years. Like seriously, like I'm like, wow, do I have a problem? Like, do I have a drinking problem? Now again, I'm not like it wasn't like I was drinking every single day, every single night. It was just that like I couldn't tell you the last time, you know, a week went by that I hadn't had a drink.
You know what? That is also kind of this is turning into like a Mark Maron podcast all of a sudden. Just it, you know what? That actually kind of also crossed my mind a little bit of like, man, do I have a problem? Am I borderline a problem? And then I read up on like what constitutes people who are addicted to alcohol, and then it was scary to see like, no, you don't have a. It's like you just have a a fuck it problem. That's what I was calling it. Where it's like, fuck, you know. And like I have a joke with my wife where it's like, when in doubt, freeze a glass, because I always like to have a cold glass for a beer. I always like chilled glasses. But again, it would never go past one or two beers. It
Right.
would always just be that like first fuck it beer, and then the like I'm gonna enjoy the second one. But then when I was like what you said of like, do I have a problem here? What's going on? And then you see what constitutes alcoholism. You're like, no, no, like thank you, thank whatever's up there. Thank God I don't have that problem. Um, I just had a massive fuck it problem. So, and then that had to reel that in though. But I'll tell you what though, what once I stopped drinking as much as I did, uh, man, I'll tell you what, I cannot tell you the value of sober sleep consecutive nights. Like just straight sleep. Like the hardest thing I'm drinking is tea, and I'm like going to bed at like 9:30, and I'm like waking up the next day and I feel great. I'm like, man, that's worth not having like a couple beers at night anymore. So I got real into that. But again, you're catching me on an off night, man. It's been a long week carrying into now. So this will be it for me. This will last the interview and I'll be done.
Well, I mean, I substituted the booze with CBD oil.
Oh,
And if you'd like to try CBD products, visit appliedbotanics.com, use code word Popko Project at checkout, and receive 30% off your order.
you know what, man? I went down that rabbit hole too, and I really dug it. I
Yeah, it's
really
good.
dug CBD oil. So I might have to use that. Thanks for the plug.
There you go. Proud sponsor of the Popko Project.
This is ridiculous. Yeah.
But no, I mean, like, we're both social people. I don't know your entire background. I know of you. You used to work at a radio station. You can say the name if you choose to. You were in bands. You hosted a local radio show. I hosted a local radio show. I was never in bands, but I was always out and about seeing bands. So like, we're very similar in a way.
Yeah.
But it just so happens that doing those things, minus hosting radio show, beer goes very well with them. So
Yes.
here we are.
Yes, I know. I remember the radio days when I was doing for those people who don't know what they're called, you already know what I'm going to talk about, how I say this. For people, they're called remotes, which is where they have the, hey, we're live from so and so from 7 to 9. Those are called remotes. I had to engineer those. Also, as an engineer's job is that you were considered promotions, and whatever it was, like particularly like in the summer, you would get the big contract in say late spring of say Coors Light is throwing down the money for the summer remotes. So that was it. And I vividly remember my head boss, the head of the whole thing, he would come up to me that whatever kickoff to the summer season, because summer was always working. I was doing four remotes a week, and I was always at a different bar. I mean, which sounds great when you're like 22 years old, but it was like, you got real tired after like the third week of going to the same bar, and you still got to go all the way to August, and but that was technically work. But my boss, I vividly remember this because I was like, wow, what a job. Is he said, now look, Bud Light or Coors Light, Miller Light, whoever it was, they were like, they're paying for this. So you need to be seen drinking just that beer. And this is how he worded it, encouraged to look like you're having a good time. So that means I had to be seen with an alcoholic beverage in my hand with that logo from the entire duration of the event, even though I was in charge of all the sound equipment, all of the transmission equipment, and the band. So I had to drive all the gear back at the end of the night. I could be in Bloomsburg for all I know, but I had to have that beer in my hand. So it was a real, like, you got to learn how to work it kind of a thing. To kind of what you said about how beer and radio go hand in hand. So like, yeah, that's a long story. I completely sidetracked it though, but that's the back of the radio world that people don't know about, which was when
Yeah.
it was fun. So
No, I know. And I remember back in the day when I was at the Weekender, we used to do, and we may have even partnered with the X. We did like summer deck series parties.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and they were always hosted by Coors Light. We partnered with them on it. And I remember the one year, I think it was 2006. It was like a Coors Light, like carnival theme type thing. And we went to Buzzy's Bazaar, and I got a bunch of like, like patio slash like carnival slash bazaar games. And one was a can crusher. Like you put the can in the thing and it's a big mallet and you smash these cans. And I said, well, what better can to smash than a Coors Light? I mean, it's a Coors Light promotion. We can't go smashing full cans of beer. So I spent the entire summer like pounding Coors Light.
Yeah.
We had these empty cans for the Friday or Saturday night to smash them.
Oh man, I miss radio. I miss those days of radio because I was 97.9X and those stations and everything like that. Um, I joined the following summer, 2007, and I still had a lot of the older. They were all older than me guys, but they were running the engineering and promotions department, and I was the young guy, so I had to always go along and do stuff with them. And I saw a lot of crazy things, and I just, oh man, so like, I
Yeah,
miss
but
those things.
what you saw like was nothing compared to what it was 20 years prior to that,
Oh yeah, that's what they all
which is
said too. They were like, "Oh, like you're like, oh, you missed a kid. You should have been here in like 2002, 2001. Like that's when it was out of control."
yeah.
And I'm like, well, I was like, I'm having a good time and getting paid, so I don't care.
Yeah, some
So
of the stories that the DJs told me that they had, 20 years ago, I'm like, wow, you cannot do that today. Like you literally, like, yeah, you're married and all that kind of stuff, but like outside of that, you could not do what you said you just did today.
no, no way, no way. I mean, again, there was some shit that I don't think I want to. I'm not even going to go into
No,
details.
don't do
I'm
it.
not even going to do this, but there was just some. Uh, I have very good memories. That's
Yeah,
all I'm saying.
secrets, secrets.
I miss it. Yes.
Well, listen, let's not
Yeah,
get too far off topic here.
that's awesome, man. That's great. We just completely shanghaied, and we're just like, fuck it, we're going off script. This is what
That's
it's like when you and I like talk. We always end up just completely swapping war stories from the radio days, and that's it.
Well, that's why I love doing this because I mean, it's yes, we're here, we have an agenda, we're going to talk about the new record from American Buffalo Ghost, but I really enjoy talking to people like they're people. I mean, you know, we all went through a terrible year,
Mm.
and I don't like talking about it because I feel like it's all we talk about. But at the end of the day, I mean, it was a shitty year, and we're still kind of going through it. We're what 12, 13, like 15 months in now, 15 or
Yeah,
14
yeah.
months. That's crazy. Um, and the last time I think we spoke, you were going to release a record, but you never did. Is that true? Like,
Yeah, yeah. The last time you and I spoke, I was getting ready to release the album that I thought was going to be my record. This we were talking about the single that I put out,
yes,
and it's like, do you remember like when we were talking? I said there was a song that I just like couldn't quite get, and it was still bothering me, and it was like going on. I was very like very, I don't want to say flaky, but very like just dodgy on certain my expressions and stuff about the album. And I was like, yeah, it's gonna come out and all that stuff. And then just the longer I sat with it, I just fucking hated it. And I listened to it and I'm like, that was bad. I shouldn't have done that. The arrangements were bad. I you could tell I'm like, this is like, there was a song on the record that you could tell it was like the third time I ever sang the thing, which is not how it should be for a record that you're trying to prop up. Um, so I just scrapped it, man, and I just kind of went into a real, I'm not depressive state, but definitely just a different mindset. I really needed to clear my head, and it's just so weird at the timing of like how we were stuck at home for a year. And I said this before to a couple other people and everything though, but I used the best of that time, and I really kind of went inward and really kind of be like just soul searching a little bit and trying to just work on me a little bit. And I took that year to really do it. Yeah, man, that album, if I put that record out, the one that you and I were talking about, just almost kind of around this time last year, oddly enough, we're coming up on like a year, almost maybe a week or two in the other direction. Um, but if I would have put that record out, I probably would have been so embarrassed that I probably would have never even played anymore under this. That's how much I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But the song worked, and it still does. The one that you
Yes.
talked about, that's still the on my new record, but that one worked.
Yeah, and
So
it's really funny, and you, like everyone else, said that you were able to really kind of slow things down last year and kind of reflect on, who you were as an individual and kind of, clean your house,
yeah,
so to
how
speak.
many times have you heard someone say that by
Eh,
now?
dude,
You have.
every single time. So, but what's different, that what you just told me, there's a lot of people who like, either put music out last year or waited and they're putting it out now. And I said, you know, and they're like, oh, we had it done before the pandemic. And I'm like, well, how did you sit on that? Because a lot of people, and I think if I was a musician and a writer or whatever, if I sat on that for that long, I probably would have went back to it. I would have been like, that sucks. I gotta fix this. And a lot of them said no, like we just kind of let it be. It is what it is. What it is. But you're saying, that you kind of did the opposite of that.
Oh, absolutely. I just it that record took 3 weeks to make, on and off, but over a period like if you add up the days, it was like 3 weeks, and I still wasn't 100% happy with it. This record, 9.5 hours, and I am like, it's the greatest thing I've done personally in my mind. That I can't, like, I don't want to be like I'm a goddamn genius, I don't I'm not saying that, but like,
You're proud of it.
no,
What you're saying.
I am so proud of the record that I made. And again, 9.5 hours compared to 3 weeks, and I wasn't 100% on it.
Right.
I think that says it right there.
Yeah. So the record is called Folk Songs and the Weird Americana. I'm not a big folk guy. Um,
Well, that's okay.
no, and there's songs I like on the record. But what are some of the songs about? Because honestly, it almost sounds like, and I don't know if this was done on purpose, but it almost sounds as if you are playing these songs out live somewhere and telling a story.
Yeah. Well, that's what the whole point of that kind of music is, to tell the story. That's what, in my mind, is
But
like.
it also sounds like it though too. It sounds like you're on a stage, like by yourself almost, and you're like singing like live. That's what
Well,
that's
yeah, I did. I guess I did. In where I recorded it, I told Eric Ritter, the producer and the engineer of the record at the Windmill, great guy, love him. Um, I said, this is what I want to do, and I gave him a couple records that I was really heavily influenced by, and I said, listen to this, and how can we do that? And after like 20 minutes of like just listening to kind of stuff, him and I were, he just was like, I get it. You don't need to say anymore. I know exactly how we're going to do this. And it was just me in a room, microphones over me, in front of me, but I wasn't never singing directly into a real mic. For most of the songs, I'm not actually like on the mic. It's in front of me, just sitting there, me and acoustic guitar. And what you hear is exactly what you picture in your head, of
yeah.
just, that's it. Yeah. So, because the reason for that would be, to kind of answer the other half of your question, would be like, when I was playing out, it would, most of the time, it would be just me, and it would just be like me with an acoustic guitar. I have a backing band who I love. I love those guys. I'm grateful when we get to do it. But majority of this act is just me with an acoustic guitar. And a lot of the songs that I was playing would, I would have to service it in just a guy with acoustic guitar. And one of the reasons why I hated the last thing that I did was because there was all kinds of arrangements and shit, and there was all kinds of weird things. And I was trying to be like, well, I'm going to try and sound like Chris Stapleton. I'm going to try and sound like Tyler Childers, and and I was doing a whole bunch of arrangements and stuff. But when I'm playing these songs out live, it's just me with acoustic guitar. I'd have to tell people, I'm like, these songs don't sound like that. So I felt like I was already lying to people who were digging what I was doing. And that was kind of one of the reasons why I said, no, man, I'm going to go back and I'm just going to do it the way these songs should be done. And, the cover songs on the record are just me with acoustic guitar, because that's how I originally heard those songs. That's how I wanted to portray them. The original material, I took the liberties of putting a little bass, little drums, but the arrangements are very sparse, as you can hear on the record. There's not a lot of band work on it.
Mm-hmm.
But they were all done like live, as you said. It was just me in a room.
That's exactly what it sounds like. I didn't know, what the process was. So you nailed it.
Yeah. So,
um,
but yeah.
so and the delay, it just came from you kind of nitpicking them and just not like wanting to do it.
The covers or the originals?
Everything.
The covers were songs that I was doing live during my sets, and I just knew those songs. I just know a lot of. I don't know if there's like, how guys can get up there and they could do like, they can be a jukebox. They can play any kind of song from the Beatles all the way to the Foo Fighters. They just do it. I can't do that. I could do that with these kind of songs though. I don't know why. I just can't. So I just went through like, what are the strongest songs in my set? Because I'd play like, I knew like 40 songs, like old folk, bluegrass, country, blues songs. I just said, no, let me pick the ones that I enjoy doing the most and what I'm really strong at. So those songs ended up on the record like that. But the other, I ended up writing all new material for like this record though. There's three songs from the last record, that made it onto this one. The first song and a song called Devil's Fingers are how they were going to be on the last album. There's another song on there called Girl of Lonesome Days, which had like huge fucking backwards guitar solos and pianos and organs, and it sounded like, I don't know, not at all what it should have been. And when I was just like, I'm gonna go out and just play the song. And that's what I did. I sat and I played it, and I was like, all this song needs in my mind is a little spaghetti western guitar, electric lead, and that's all I put on it, and that was it. I mean, it's weird. That's hence like the Weird Americana.
Right.
I know this record's not for everybody, but but I mean, this is how I see this world of music. That's why I did it the way I did it.
Yeah, and I always think this is the picture, I guess, that I paint in my head. So I mean, it's just me, but I always think of folk singers and songwriters as like older, and that's not you. You're not old. I mean, is folk music something that you've always loved, and that's like, is that kind of the music you want to continue to create, or what is this? What you're doing now, and then a year from now you're going to do something different under American Buffalo Ghost, or maybe you go back to old Charades or whatever.
Well, yeah, I always loved this kind of music. Even when I was like in those Clever Foxes, I was always listening to folk music, a lot of blues, a lot of like real blues music, all kinds of it, like the country blues stuff from like the 1920s and 30s, all the way up to like Muddy Waters and stuff like that. And then I always listen to folk music and bluegrass music. So yeah, this was always with me, but I still love like rock and roll, and I still love punk rock and alternative rock and stuff like that. Yeah, like I mean, as far as like American Buffalo Ghost banner, I could do whatever I want because like it's me. Like, and like I already kind of have ideas flowing around for what I want to do with it, and I don't want to make another one of these records because I don't want to, because I did it right here. But I'm still gonna play like folk music and folk songs. I still have a treasure trove of songs that I could change the arrangements of and make my own and stuff like that. But as me as a person, like, man, I old Charades is still a very active band, is because Jerry, Tom, and I, we get together as often as we can to make music. We're still writing music. You like, I'm actually talking to a couple other guys about doing some other projects musically. So it's like, this isn't like my whole world, but it's the world that I'm most comfortable in, if that helps answer your question.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just, I don't know a lot of folk singers, and the folk singers that I like know or heard of are just older. That's all.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I don't know. I don't know.
You're an
I
old
mean, I know
soul.
a lot of guys who play like Woody Guthrie songs that are closer to my age and stuff like that. But
Well, we need guys like you to carry the torch and and introduce people to that style.
well, I appreciate the shit out of that. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, like, I'm really not. I'm not really like thinking on the level of like being as like um of like a guy who's carrying the banner of Americana from Scranton and everything like that. I was thinking really truly like a personal thing for me. This album's incredibly personal because it was a statement of like I was ready to burn it all down because of how unhappy I was with the last thing I did, which will never come out. And like, so for me, this was like a definite, like, I did it. This is exactly how it should have been from day one. And and like, now I know I can do it. But someone else said that to me about like how like, someone on the internet could just Google this and hear it, and then they don't know what some of these folk songs are, and they could hear it from you for the first time. And I was like, I was not thinking that at all. But if that's how it works, that's how it happened to me. I just happened to hear a band do a folk song, and then the rabbit hole happened. So I'll it's cool with me.
Yeah. Why not? Someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
Why not you?
What's up?
I said someone's got to do it. Why not you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't really thinking like that. I wasn't trying to be like this. I'm not gonna like go paint a picture of like I'm like this like blue collar train hopping farmer kind of dust bowl balladeer. Like, a lot of my idols they were those guys. They
Right.
were, the Woody Guthrie and Cisco Houston, Leadbelly, and all of these guys. No, I went to Coffin High School. I'm born in the 80s. But but if you believe in it and you're sincere enough, it will come through, regardless of the time and background that you have. I mean, just look at, all you got to do is say, look at a guy like Eric Clapton, or Keith Richards. They're from England, and they're pretty far away from the American South, yet look what they did to the blues because they believed in it. So I guess it kind of goes like that.
Yeah. So as far as this year goes, do you have any plans for shows?
I've already done a couple. I would like, I'm just at the mercy of it, like every other musician at this point, man. Like, I'm hoping things get going. I know some venues are starting to open up, and they've already reached out to me. So I'm just waiting for like the calendar to be put in front of me and stuff like that. So I'm really grateful about that. But that's not going to be till late summer. But which is not that far away, really. I mean, we're already in late May.
It's middle of May. Watch this. What's the 18th of May right now, or 17th?
I like, it was March, and then I was just like, oh, there it is, and it's May.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, things are starting to open up. There's some opportunities coming up, but I'm not really like banking on a lot. And that's not a dig at any venue and anywhere in particular. It's just because of like last year we said, oh, this is going to be 2 weeks to a month. Here we're still here. You know what I mean? So I'm more hopeful than I was last year. about doing more shows, and I want to, because I got a record to sell and everything,
Yeah.
and promote to people. But hey, man, I'm just taking it one day at a time, like everybody else. So
Yeah. And one question I ask a lot of bands and artists that I talk to is, and we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but I mean, how was it for you as, being a musician who, performed regularly, to have that kind of taken from you? I mean, obviously, as an artist, you can still continue to create at home and things like that. But as far as having that ability to share your music with people, perform it on stage, have an audience, that's no longer, an option. Did that have an effect on you?
yeah, but it did. But I kind of didn't look at it as well. Initially, I did. I did after like the first month because I lost some serious gigs I had lined up, and they were going to be really great gigs. And that was, you know, money's nice, but like I was just looking forward to really playing some great shows, and I was going to get a nice paycheck after a couple gigs and stuff. And but initially, I was actually thrilled because I I think of myself as a weekend warrior. I don't know if you're familiar with that term with you musicians. Do you know what that is?
Well, I mean, I'm going to take a stab in the dark here. You play on the weekends, every weekend. Um,
Yeah, essentially, like you're out every weekend, either like in the tri-state area of
right.
your area. So, like
Hustle.
a
Yeah.
weekend warrior. I was like weekend warring 10 years plus.
Yeah.
That shit took a toll. I mean, granted, I'm not like, there's guys who live on the road, and that's the real thing though. But I really enjoyed the time off initially. Then it got real irritating when I saw how long this was going. And then kind of became uh that's actually kind of hard to think about because then it kind of became like, well, nobody else is doing anything. So it's not like you're losing ground if like in that mentality of like, someone's progressing ahead of you if you're in a competition with somebody. I'm not. But like just that mentality of like everybody was on the same playing field.
Hmm.
So it wasn't like I couldn't do shows. Nobody could do shows. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like, so once I got that mindset, it was kind of one of those things where it was like, you just got to sit and accept it at this point.
Yeah.
I could kick the dirt all day, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to be in the same spot as I was last week. But now things are starting to open up. Yeah, you want to get back out there. You want to start getting it because I only played 4 shows last year, four or
Wow.
5 shows over the year. That's obscene. I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you the last time I had like that much time off. Um, but I like to go back to what we said. I use that time personally to reflect and really, really clear the headspace out a little bit. And I think taking time off was not only what I could have wanted subconsciously, but what I really needed because I was newly married. I wanted to savor that a little bit. Still am. um, and yeah, but I think hopefully by the end of this year I'll be getting back out there doing more of it, trying to recoup some of that lost ground and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was still playing music like every single day in my house, so I kept my chops tight, and I really did not let the dust set.
Good.
And I made a point of being like, yeah, just because you're not playing out on a Friday or Saturday night anymore, that doesn't mean you can't put in the work and practice. And that's kind of what I meant by like working on myself. I was like, no, motherfucker, like you got to put in the hours now.
Yeah.
I was like, you got to get some chops, and that I did. I think I did anyway.
Yeah. I mean, outside of the fact that people unfortunately lost their lives, their livelihood, um, uh, a plethora of just bad things happen from this, but um, you know, it forced people to really slow down. I mean, we're at a culture and a society that just like is moving and 24/7. I feel like, and everyone is accessible, but whether it's, email or social media or all that stuff. And you're saying, I mean, you're working full time during the week, and then you're jumping in your car and going to play shows. I think that's got to be a grind for you and anybody else that's doing that. And it was probably really good. Again, outside of the fact that people,
Oh,
were,
no, I know exactly what you're saying. I agree 100%.
yeah,
Not to cut you off there, but like, is like, I'm sitting here saying like, oh, I had a great reflective period and everything like that. Like, no, I'm very much aware that, their worst case scenario, families were destroyed, you know, lives were ruined because of this, and people lost their jobs. Not just musicians that I know that lost their gig on the road because they're road dogs. Guys who just work. They lost their jobs too. I was very fortunate that I have a job that allowed me to work from home, still do. And, I bitch and complain about my job a lot, but I'm very grateful to still have a steady paycheck while working safely from home, making sure my wife is okay, making sure our dogs are okay. So I'm incredibly grateful for the underlying, I don't know, current or whatever the word is that happened over the year, but being very much aware of like, it could have been so much fucking worse
yeah. No, I
on
got
many
you.
levels. So, you know,
Yeah, I'm kind of just talking out loud, just in general. Just it sucks,
yeah, yeah, it
but
does. Yeah,
but again, it kind of forces us to slow down and take it. Those who took advantage of it, I think, will come out, better.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. You have to. You have, or if you don't, you didn't do it right. I mean, don't want to sound like a dick, but if you're gonna come out of this the same person you were when we went into it, then you need more than a quarantine to figure your shit out. You know what I mean?
well, I don't know if I did.
Well,
I think I'm going backwards at times.
you son of a bitch.
He's talking shit on me, bro.
Set me up. No, no, man. But no, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I wish I would have. It's one of those things. I wish I would have like taken advantage of the time home. Maybe worked out a little bit. Maybe gone for some more walks. But for me, I mean, like I got to stay home with my kid. I was fortunate with my job that I had. We worked from home, which was a surprise. I was shocked that the employer that I had allowed us to do that initially. Um, I think that if they had their way, they would have had us back in like April, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, no, man. Yeah. My wife and I work for the same company, and they were really trying to like start to like, it was like around October, I think. They were really trying to push that, like, all right, guys, everything's still kind of falling apart, but let's get back to work now. And it just was like, October was like when like Trump got it in October. I'm not taking a political side. I'm just stating date facts. Like the president of the United States fucking got it.
Yeah.
I'm not going back to a fucking office. Like, like what are you out of your mind? And I think that was kind of the wake up call that they, all right, I guess we got to keep you home. Yeah. So you and I are on the same level with everything though. What was that like staying home with a kid?
Uh it was so my son is very much and still is a mama's boy. So he wanted my wife to do everything for him. So and as much as I try, like I've always been the husband and the father that I want to be very involved. Like I want to try it. I want to be part of his life and do things. So it's not on my wife 100%, but he wasn't having it. Like mommy does bath, mommy puts me to bed, mommy this, mommy that. So I mean, for me, I took advantage of it in that I was home with him 5 days a week. She'd work from home every other day, which was great because trying to work while also make sure your kid doesn't jump off the couch and take a head dive into the table can be a bit of a challenge. Um, but the days she was home and we were together, it was a little more manageable. But I have pictures of my kid. It was funny. We'd have a Zoom meeting every morning at 8:30. Like I'm like, okay, like just to make sure like we're up. and dressed in like
Yeah.
the day, right? I guess. But so he would sit next to me and he would like draw with like actually it might even have been this notebook, but uh he grabbed my pen and he was scribbling, and then I was on the call. He disappeared, went into the other half of the house into the living room. Um I'm on the Zoom call. It's taking longer than it needs to take, and they all do. But um, so I got off, and he's quiet. And I walk in to the living room, and he had my pen, and he drew all over like the beige colored couch. I wasn't even mad at him. I was just like, "What did you do? Your mother's gonna be so mad."
Immediately shifted. Oh, you're in deep shit, buddy.
Yeah, you have no idea. We got to get this covered up before your mother gets home. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want you getting in trouble. Oh my god.
That's such a bad thing. That's awesome.
And
Oh,
I
you're in
felt
deep shit.
bad too because like I said, I didn't get mad. I didn't yell at him, but like he knew like he fucked up.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
knew,
I,
and I felt
I
bad
know
for him.
that. I used to teach kids, like little kids of like from ages of like 3, 4, 5, all the way up to like teenage and stuff like that, um and stuff. And I you could read the body language of a 6-year-old real quick, or like a 5-year-old real quick. It's like, you know what you did was wrong. Yeah, yeah. You
Mhm.
feel bad about it? I do now. Yeah, yeah, all right. Well then we'll just let it go.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't. I do value that time that I had home with him because uh we're cool now for the
Yeah.
most part. Like, just as far as like he just kind of likes me now.
Yeah.
He lets me do things. So, which
That's
is
cool, man.
I'm sure it's a help for my wife too. So,
You got it. I mean,
but yeah,
but my wife and I were not there yet. That was one of the few things that did not come out of the quarantine. We got another dog, and I was like, "That's good for right now." We're good.
yeah. Kids are not for everyone. Uh,
I love kids, just not right now because
dude.
I had SpaghettiOs for lunch. You think I'm ready for a kid? Like,
Well, it's perfect. Gets what they eat too. You just have it with them.
well, no, that's mine. They're not eating my
You
SpaghettiOs.
can't take my spaghettios. It's one of those things I wish I did earlier. We didn't have him until I was 35. Um, but we were just like we did it when we were both ready.
Yeah,
Um, she was in school forever. Um, and we enjoyed traveling and we enjoyed each other, and we just finally said, all right, I think now's the time we should try. It was a hard decision because like we really enjoyed having the time to ourselves, and like I said, just going on a weekend trip somewhere or whatever it might be. And I remember vividly, we were outside of my friend's house about to go into a party, and we were talking about the kid thing, and we both like were just like on the same page and said like if we don't do it, we'll regret it when we're 65 years
yeah,
old.
yeah.
And
My wife turns 30 next year, and like we're still traveling and doing a lot of stuff. Like we're going to Deadwood later this year. We're going to New Orleans for her 30th birthday and stuff. But it's like the kid is in the picture down the road a little bit. But we're still just having. I mean, we're still newlyweds. I mean, we got
yeah,
married December 2019, right before the fucking world ended. Okay, so like our first year of marriage was being stuck in a house for a
together.
year, for together. So that's a story.
Yep.
Um, but we want to kind of like get back a little bit of that time that we missed of like traveling and stuff. We were able to travel a little bit here and there, but it was like we want to go do things.
Yeah. No, dude, I get it. I'm not pushing you to have a kid now.
Yeah,
Do
you
it when
are a
you're
little,
ready.
you're a
But
little
you'll
bit. You're pushing a little bit. You're
no,
putting
no,
the
no,
key.
no, no, no,
No.
no. I said when you're ready. I just said I wish I did it earlier. But if you do it like I did, you'll be 35 and you'll have plenty of years to have fun and you'll be
Yeah,
ready. You'll be ready.
I like kids, but again, I had SpaghettiOs for lunch. I'm not quite there yet.
I love spaghetti. My favorite is probably beefaroni.
Oh no, just give me the straight old school SpaghettiOs.
No,
And
beefaroni too.
that's all I need. That's all I need.
I'm just
Like,
upset there's so much sodium in it though. Like, what the hell?
well, hey man, like talk about fucking sodium and shit. Like, I was so pissed off from my last week of work and today that I'm like, fuck it. I got in my wife's car, went to the grocery store, and I bought a steak and like mushrooms, and I came home and I grilled a steak. Like, you ever like angrily cook something? You ever get like where you're like in a kitchen and you're just like you're watching something cook? It's a fascinating feeling because I just take this fucking slab of meat and throw it on a fucking grill, and I'm just like staring at it, just like now you're gonna get it, motherfucker. Like, I'm just watching this steak cook, and I'm like taking my frustrations out on this great piece of meat here, and just like cooking and everything, and I'm just like, and like I'm eating it, didn't even enjoy it, eating, and but you know that feeling though, where you're just like hate cook. So I hate grilled
I
today.
don't think I've ever done that. And the
Oh, you're
fact that
done. You're,
and then
you're,
the fact that you're like, that's it, I'm going to the store.
oh yeah, no, that's me. That's what I do. I don't want to get into a shouting match. I don't want to throw things. I don't want to bang my fist on
I'm
the
gonna
table.
cook the shit out of some food.
I'm gonna go to the grocery store and buy a grill and just fucking just nostrils flaring up with rage as I watch this steak cook and I'm eating it, and then I put on like Family Guy or something just and then she's
Fucking-
walking out the door and I'm like, bye, and eating my steak.
and you finish, you blacked out. You're like, what happened? What just happened here?
Like lay back, I'm just like I got like seasoning salt on my face.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
that's life. That's how I've been, apart from making this record.
There you go. Just anger cooking and writing songs.
Yeah. I can take it. There's worse things.
Folk songs and the angry dinner.
Yeah. That's the follow up.
There you go.
Oh
Volume
my
2.
God.
Oh man.
That's
Well, I'm
fun.
glad to see you're doing well. I'm glad to see you're not divorced.
Yeah. Me either.
I made it through. I mean,
Yeah.
dude, I'm thinking like if you can make it through that, I mean, you can make it through anything.
Yeah. That's what a lot of people told us, and we're just like laughing and everything though. But I guess it's kind of true. I mean, like, there's just like shit. There's some shit. It's just like we weren't even like, you don't plan for something like this. December of 2019, you had no concept that this was going to happen back then. You know what I mean? Like, no fucking idea. And then you just look in a couple months and the world's completely different. And it wasn't just like, well, I guess we're stuck here. It was just literally like, that's some shit.
Yeah.
Like, I remember like January, like when it all kind of started and everything. I was like, that's not going away. Like, come home from work because you're still going to work, and come home from work and be like, yeah, that coronavirus thing, that's not going away. Like, people are talking about that, and here we are. And her and I are we just wrote it out together, got vaxxed, and we're okay. Just been safe.
There you go.
Hmm.
Well, it's good news.
Yeah.
Good news.
So
Happy wife, happy life. Great record. It's all good.
the record was priority there for a minute. I was like, I've been next to you for a while now. You can take care of yourself.
She couldn't get home in time for you to do this podcast. I mean, this was, like I said before, this is the most important podcast that you'll ever do in your life. She couldn't do that for you.
No.
I'm totally kidding. If she watches this, tell her.
No,
I'm just kidding.
You know what? Just you saying it, there's a pack of hot dogs I'm gonna just fucking, or spaghetti, I'm just gonna take it out on. It's gonna fucking just the fuck's you're gonna remember that. You're gonna take that back to your wife and be like, have you ever, how do I say this, angrily cooked anything? And you're gonna look at you like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think that's.
You're gonna get pissed off. Something's gonna happen. And you're just gonna be like, fucking, we're making French toast.
Scramble these fucking eggs.
I don't know why I was so pissed off at the steak today. It was really tasty. And I just was like angrily looking at it, like all of the world's problems. My car's due for inspection. Fuck this steak. You know, I don't know. It's a
Uh,
long week.
you keep saying it's a long week, and it's Monday. Like I can't. I hope the rest of the week gets better for you.
I hope so for my pots and pans.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, the food's
Yeah,
sake, that
yeah.
the
But yeah,
cow.
man, it's been just like everybody else, but making a record, making this record, I'm proud of it. It's true to my soul, I believe in it, and I'm very very proud of it. Um, I could not ask for it to turn out any better, and it's I really want to get out and play it, and I really like just want to get it going and stuff like that. And it's kind of weird though because like when you and I talked last, that song was out. That song got picked up. I don't know if I mentioned that to you. It got picked up by some radio stations out Colorado, West Texas, that little chunk of the country, and people were like really kind of hitting me up out of nowhere, and I was like, I don't know who these people are, and I was looking, and they were like fucking from like that part of the country, and I was like panicking, like legit panicking. I was just like, fuck. I was like, the record sucks, and these people are out there waiting for it. I'm fucked. Like I'm so fucked. Um, so that was kind of also one of the reasons why I was like, I got to get rid of this thing and start from scratch. But I could not be more thrilled with the current record that I have out. So proud of it.
Maybe you should like, I don't know, write a documentary or something.
I did do a doc. I didn't personally do it. No segue.
Yeah, I set you
Yeah,
up. I set you
yeah.
up. I didn't
My
forget.
no, my not my good friend Tim McDermott. He's a well-respected guy in the Scranton, Wilkes-Barre area. Really good guy. Um, he approached me because I was just casually talking to him. It's like we touch base a lot, and like we're always just in communication and stuff. And he said what I was gonna do. I was like, I'm gonna go into this recording studio and I'm gonna do this record and the whole story. And I just casually said to him, I was like, would you want to just come and take photos or something? Because he was looking for a reason to get out of the house a little bit and everything. And he's like, no, man, I want to film this. And I was like, oh, all right. And man, he came in and he did it his way. And he filmed me making this record. And I was like, I saw it in like the documentary. I was like, the documentary is better than the record. I was like, there's plot, there's slight drama. I was like, it's a 15-minute short you made, and yet I was like, how did you do it in like this kind of little thing? It's up on YouTube. It's called 2 Days in February,
Oh, cool.
and I want him to get all the attention that he can for it because it's a brilliant little piece of filmmaking he did. He shot it, he edited it, and it was totally his idea. He ran with it, and I just did whatever. And he was like, I don't know. It was like watching one of those like kind of music documentaries. Like I always watched like the movie like I'm Trying to Break Your Heart, which is the Wilco documentary, and then there's like Let It Be, of course, with the Beatles, and then like just like any kind of like music documentary. And you're always like, I always had that. I was like, I wonder what it's like to be a musician and have a guy just like when you're trying to figure something out here, there's a guy like 8 feet to your right filming you. I always wondered what that would be like. And I got to see what it's like. If he's there, I could do that all the time because he was great. But yeah, it was a great experience working with him. And he shot the photo that's on the album. That's the album cover, by the way.
Oh, cool.
That was his idea as well to take it the way he did it, and everything. He was so involved, and I don't know why he wanted to be so involved. I'm very grateful for him great friend. But he was just like, I have a complete idea and I want to do it. And I was like, I'm here, let's do it.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's great. Go check that out.
I will definitely. That's awesome. Well, the record's great, even coming from a non-folk kind of guy. I
Yeah.
appreciate it for what it is. I mean, I'm okay with that.
No, you know what? That's all I can ask for because, like, you know, I know what I'm doing, and I know what this record is, and I know it is not for everybody. I mean, like, that's especially, and I make like this is a hard folk record. Like this is like real traditional stripped shit, and um, that's not like what that's not going to be some huge life changing selling thing. That wasn't the point. But I know it's not for everybody, but I appreciate someone like you, who I know your music background, I know what you're into and everything, but for you to like it, I must have done something right.
Well, I'm honored that you would think that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But yeah, American Buffalo Ghost, folk songs, and the Weird Americana, and then also the documentary on YouTube, 2 days in February. Definitely gonna check that out. But I'm assuming this is streaming everywhere right now.
Uh, yeah, it's on Spotify. I'll say that.
Okay.
It's on Spotify. I won't go too far into the whole thing, but I had to jump through some hoops a little bit because the tax man still wanted their money on, and I thought, these songs are public domain for a reason because they're over 100 years old. But apparently, according to some people, they said, nope, was our money. So I had to go through a little bit of some stuff, but it's on Spotify, which is, let's not bullshit each other. Everybody just goes to Spotify anyway,
Yes.
But it's on Bandcamp as well. And so you can listen to it and purchase it digitally on Bandcamp and stream it on Spotify.
Cool.
But yeah, it's out there in the world.
Awesome. Well, I hope that I see you soon. I haven't seen you in person since it was 2019. I want to say September or October at Carl Hall.
Holy shit, was it that long ago?
Yeah, we were doing the Alt Natives Underground.
I remember that.
I think you opened for Send Request.
That was the weirdest thing, man.
So, yeah, that's what you're like. You kept saying like, "Oh, this is so weird." Like, my music is nothing like theirs. I'm like, yeah, but that's why I did it. I want to introduce like people like imagine if they came for Send Request and they saw you first. I'm like, wow, this guy's really good. I never would have looked him up or been into him, but I have to because he's in my face right now.
Yeah, it was that was a weird show because I was like, these fucking kids, these are, I can say that they're like kids coming to see a pop punk band. And they're cool guys, Send Request guys, cool as shit. But I was like, what the fuck's this about? I had fun. I didn't care, so people dug it. That was the cool part. So it all worked out. But I can't believe it was that long ago. I do remember that show though, because what happened, as it normally does when you and I get into a room and there's beer, we completely disregard the whole fucking world and we just start talking about radio stories.
Yeah.
That's all that happens.
And we never had any together, which is weird.
No, never, not one. But yet we could just go on about stuff, which is the weirdest. You and I have like that weird little in with each other of just like, hey, let me, and then that's it. Everything gets shut down.
Well, I think it all started at Cafe 99. I can't tell you what year it was because I can't remember that far back. But I remember the Menzingers came on the jukebox. And I'm looking around the bar. I'm like, who's playing this? I want to shake their fucking hand. And I saw you across the bar, like singing it. I'm like, it must have been you. I'm like, yo, dude, good pick.
I still go to Cafe 99. I fucking love that bar. Shout out Cafe 99 in Wilkes-Barre.
I have not been there in so long. It's been so long. I could not tell you the last time I was there.
I was there last week. First time in a while. I think like the first time in like since the quarantine, everything, like able to sit at the bar and like the tables and stuff. Yeah. It was like last week I was there. I ate so many fucking chicken wings. It was great.
You better eat them now before they're gone.
I actually asked beforehand if they were able to sell chicken wings. They said, yeah. And yeah, I don't know if anybody, this is going to be such a weird little thing of like our time and space would be like, there was no chicken wings, which is my personal nightmare. I don't know about yours.
Yeah. I mean, I love a good chicken wing.
But. So.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you go for the evening. Thanks again for doing this. Best of luck with the new record. Best of luck getting out there and promoting it. And again, hopefully I'll see you soon.
Yeah, man. It's been too long. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for letting me do this and just bullshitting and catching up with you, man, because it's very, very, very much needed. Thank you so much for having me on.
You got it, man. Thanks.
Thanks, buddy.
See ya.